Not very well.
No, what's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah.
I have, I seriously doubt you want to hear the entire backstory. But today I am, I'm trying to, I really don't think you want to hear the story, do you?
Well, do you know why I'm stopping you?
Yes, I was riding in a lane.
Okay.
That is not wide enough to accommodate side-by-side travel.
I understood that. You understand why I'm stopping you, correct? So we don't have to get into all this stuff. You understand why I'm stopping you, right?
Could you state the reason why you're stopping?
The reason why I'm stopping you is because you are in the lane of travel, impeding the flow of traffic.
Okay.
You are not to the far right of the roadway. That is why I'm stopping you.
Okay.
Do you have your identification on you?
Yes, I do.
Can I please see it?
Yes, you may. If the lane of travel is not wide enough to accommodate side-by-side travel without injury to the cyclist, exactly how is it?
Where you were, you had plenty of room to be to the far right to allow vehicles to pass in both lanes to pass you continuing eastbound. You were obstructing the entire outside lane of eastbound travel of Tilton. There were vehicles behind you. You were not traveling the appropriate speed for vehicles to flow. That is why I am stopping you.
Okay, so if there is
your driver's license, please?
If there is not appropriate width, I guess you don't really care about our safety. You know, I couldn't help but notice. Now, I knew it was a policy. That the police departments had of attenuating their vehicles to give themselves clearance while performing traffic stops. But I was shocked to find out that it's an actual law. So police, they want a law to protect themselves while they're, and that's quite, and what's ironic.
Are you referring to the move over law?
The move over law, that is correct. And what's ironic is that move over law, that's in effect when there is a shoulder. Here, we have no shoulder.
Okay.
So the police department are not willing to allocate the safety that they would have for themselves.
Okay.
So you don't really care about our safety, but you're more than willing to implement laws that protect your own safety.
I don't implement anything. I just enforce the laws that are passed down.
Okay, and the law says as far right as practical.
That's
Officer, how do you pronounce Pollietus? Officer Pollietus, is it very practical for a cyclist to try and squeeze in side by side with large vehicles that travel this road? Not every vehicle is a Honda, you know.
I understand that.
So I guess you don't care that you know, it's well documented. I suppose if you were.
That's going to be to the safety of the other drivers, sir. The other drivers have to look out for you just like you have to look out for your own safety. Had you been to the far right of the roadway, I would have gone right by you.
So
you were obstructing.
And that's an interesting comment you just made.
Were obstructing.
So it's up to the drivers to see to my safety, but you don't leave this up to the drivers to see to police safety when they're performing a stop, correct?
Okay. Mr. Dunbar, do me a favor. Hang tight right here. I'm going to check everything out, okay? We'll be right with you.
That's a large vehicle that they would have me ride side by side with. This right here. This is what they would have me try to ride side by side with in a lane that's about 10 or 11 feet wide. Look at this. Look at how it takes up the lane. There is no room whatsoever. It even says on its mud flaps, wide load. It even says on its mud flaps, wide load. So, the move over law protects the lives of police officers even when there is a shoulder. Now, in case you're not familiar with that law, it means that when traffic officers are performing a stop on a shoulder, even though they have a shoulder to pull over themselves and the vehicle in, these officers want, by law, all of traffic to move over to the left lane. And I can understand that because there have been a number of officers that have been hit and killed while performing traffic stops. But ironically enough, there have also been just as much and probably more cyclists who have been hit and killed by motorists under no shoulder conditions. They do not care about our safety. They do not care that there is a law and a cycling manual in existence that protects the lives of cyclists. All you have to do is use it. That's it. The New Jersey Cycling Manual is akin to the lifeboats on the Titanic. Both are designed to save lives, and both are woefully underused. All you have to do is use it and adhere to it, and everybody arrives at their destination in a safe fashion. But these officers would not have me do that. These officers would have me ride side by side, and what the cycling manual states is inviting traffic to squeeze next to you. These conditions lead to a number of cyclist injuries and death. Again, they don't care about any of this. All they care about is their own precious move over law that protects their own life. Nobody else. As we saw, Officer Pollietus is indeed aware of the move over law. I'm sure he and others have utilized it to save themselves from injury or death, but they do not care, nor do they wish for traffic to move over for a cyclist. And let us also not omit the fact that a cyclist, well, such as myself anyway, can move along at between 15 to 20 miles an hour. When a traffic officer is at a traffic stop, they are moving 0 miles an hour. When a school bus loads and unloads children, they cause traffic to come to a complete halt in all lanes, be it left or right. Yet that is legal. That is legal for the safety of the children. Again, there is no safety for cyclists. They do not care. The pervasive prejudice that surrounds cyclists is basically this. If you choose to ride your bicycle in the road, now here we have a cyclist, he's riding on the pavement, which you're not really supposed to do, and there's no helmet, although true, he's not required to wear it being an adult. But the point is, the belief is, if you are a cyclist and you are choosing to ride in the road, then you should just be willing to accept the casualties that come along with that. Now, there's something inherently wrong about that. Let's examine that for a moment. Let's look at this car dealership. When cars were in their infancy, when cars were first being put out, they were manufactured with regular window glass, the kind that you have in your home's window. When the collisions would happen and the occupants were either ejected or partially ejected, these people ended up dying from injuries. But the medical examiner ruled that it wasn't the force of blunt force impact that caused their death. It was lacerations. The window glass that they flew through would sever their carotid artery or femoral arteries. Basically, it means that the automotive industry, they were able to identify and isolate a problem with their vehicles. Hence the creation of car glass. It is strong, it is tempered, and when it does shatter, it does so in small cubical form, therefore sparing the person ejected through it or crashing into it from severe lacerations. Therefore, we see that automotive engineering was allowed to progress, move forward. Unfortunately, for cyclists, there is no progression. There is no moving forward. Even though we have laws and manuals that would protect cyclists, we are expected to just simply accept the danger. But nobody said or expected a driver of a motor vehicle to accept what comes along with driving a motor vehicle in the 1900s. Oh well, you got ejected, your throat got slit by window glass. That just goes along with driving a car. No, that was not deemed appropriate. It was not deemed safe. So they made changes. Same thing with these officers. A problem was identified, that officers were being hit while conducting traffic stops. Laws were created to protect them. That's what happened. That would be Sergeant Purr. Laws were created to protect officers. Nobody said to the police officers, oh well, you're a cop. You need to just simply accept the casualties that go along with your job. They weren't expected to accept that. Things were made so that they could be